Welcome back to Inside Post Challenge. This week we're taking a look at the Sam F. Davis, the Robert B. Lewis, and the El Camino Real Derby. Hello everyone, I'm Tom Law. I'm joined by Ed DeRosa. Ed, it's hard to believe we're back in the studio.
Comes quick.
Just feels like just a few short days ago we were out talking about the Breeders' Cup, getting ready for the Breeders' Cup.
Picking against Zenyatta.
At Churchill Downs. Yeah, picking against Zenyatta. Well, it worked out for you. You didn't win. She didn't win.
That's right.
So we were looking at the races at Churchill Downs this year. We're back spring, roll the calendar forward. We're looking at Churchill Downs again, only this time we're looking at the big show, Kentucky Derby. Several months away here now, a few months away. We got a loaded schedule of prep races. Actually, the Inside Post Challenge doesn't start officially this week. We're going to take a look at 3 races this week, though. Pretty key Kentucky Derby prep races, maybe more like prep races for the signature preps at the various tracks. We're also going to come back again next week with the Risen Star Stakes at Fairgrounds. Not going to be part of the challenge, but then we're going to start the challenge officially on February 26th. We're going to have 16 races this year in the challenge, leading all the way up to the Triple Crown and actually through the Triple Crown.
I like it.
Yeah, a lot of different races. I look down at the schedule and it's basically every major Triple Crown prep race. So it's going to be an interactive contest. Fans are going to have the chance to enter their picks, take a look at how their picks fare against our picks. We'll be able to show you hopefully give you some good detailed analysis, some replays. We'll catch up, we'll follow up, we'll do a little bit of everything. We'll talk about the Road to the Triple Crown website, which is just launched this week at thoroughbredtimes.com. Ed, it's just a boatload of information that we got to sort through. Triple Crown nominations actually come out this weekend, so there's a lot of excitement in the air for the Triple Crown.
I'm really looking forward to it.
All right, well, let's get into this week's races. Okay. We're going to start off, we're just going to go chronological order, if you don't mind. We're going to start with the Sam F. Davis.
All right.
Tampa Bay Downs. Kind of all eyes are on the horse on the very outside in here. Brethren, half-brother to last year's Derby winner Super Saver. Super Saver obviously used Tampa Bay as a springboard to his success last year at Churchill Downs. Brethren, a colt by Distorted Humor, same connections as Super Saver. Trainer Todd Pletcher, owner Windstar Farm. He's a homebred. He's 2 for 2. His last win came on the Stars of Tomorrow Part 2 program there at Churchill Downs. We were talking a little bit offset about those programs at Churchill. Kind of can provide some good insight. Take a look at those races. You see a lot of horses that have run against each other in those races. Maybe you get a gauge off of them. I don't know. What do you think about the Sam F. Davis?
Well, I definitely think it's the race that's going to tell us whether Brethren fits or not. And with him, the one thing I'm always impressed with is A, winning first time out. I think that's really important. And B, 2-year-old form. A lot of the so-called Derby rules that we hear a lot about, a certain number of starts as a 3-year-old, dual qualifiers, et cetera, somewhat gone out the window as training patterns have changed. But I'm still a big believer in the foundation, so to speak, and needing some 2-year-old form.
Another good grade 2 two-turn race, mile and 1/8, the Robert B. Lewis. It's like I said, it's a grade 2 race, a mile and 1/8 prep, basically a prep race for the Santa Anita Derby, maybe the San Felipe Stakes, a little bit down the road. It drew Tapazar, the horse pretty much that had a runaway win on that Stars of Tomorrow program 2 starts back, shipped out there to California for Steve Asmussen, won the Sham Stakes just as easily. He's sort of the buzz horse out there. Even Bob Baffert was going on and on about how impressed he was with him. And Baffert actually has a horse in here named Wegner, who I talked about a little bit with you again off air. I like his last race, maiden special weight, going 2 turns, going a mile. But like you said, what's the story with Baffert debuting a horse by on the turf at the Oak Tree meet at Hollywood? He was by Dynaformer, so I guess maybe there was a reason why he was thinking turf with him. But what do you think of the Bob Lewis?
Well, you mentioned Churchill Downs a lot in the introduction, and I think it needs to be said with the Lewis. And the next race we'll talk about, the El Camino Real, part of that $5.5 million available for Magna International, or excuse me, MI Development owned tracks races. This is on that path, so certainly I would think Connections looking ahead to what could be a big payday in the Preakness at Pimlico as well, and any winner of the next 2 races we'll talk about would be eligible for that. But yeah, I think Tapazar, Garrett Gomez on this one. He rode Brethren in his allowance win at Churchill, so kind of wonder if this was his choice to stay out there for this one. But dominating win in the Sham, I thought. Didn't look like anyone would have run with him that day, and I'm really not sure that there's anyone in this race that can run with him either, especially with Comet at the top likely going to Northern California.
You mentioned Comet at the top. Comet at the top actually is cross-entered in here, so, you know, I mean, all his connections have pretty much indicated, and I believe he may already be in Northern California maybe as
right.
as this airs. But Peter Miller is obviously looking to go the sort of the Golden Gate route with him. You know, it's not necessarily he'll go to run up there for 200,000. He'll stay on synthetic. You know, he's 2 for 2 at Golden Gate. He kind of used Golden Gate as the first 2 races in that 5-race win streak that he has going now. You know, he's obviously going to be the horse to beat here in the El Camino Real Derby. Like I said, it's a Grade 3, 200,000. It's another 1.125 prep race. You know, a 1.125 distance prep race. Drew, you know, 7-horse field, but pretty much Comet at the top really lays over this bunch, in my opinion, with the exception of maybe Positive Response. You know, trainer Bill Morey, certainly very much a force out there in Northern California. This horse is 3 for 4 at Golden Gate. You know, I'm a big believer in horses for the course, and you know, it's hard to not like a horse that has done that well at Golden Gate in the past. Although there are a few in here: Bluegrass Reward, Formula Gold, Jake's Man, that have actually won at Golden Gate as well. Another horse in here that's actually cross-entered as well in the race at Santa Anita, Anthony's Cross, who finished 3rd last time out, the Tapazar, so maybe you get a good read on Tapazar and Comet at the Top's form, depending on how this race turns out. You also have the first 3 finishers from the California Derby. I mentioned that Positive Response. He was the winner of that race, but also Jake's Man and that Bluegrass Reward. Those are the 2 horses that actually have wins there at Golden Gate. So it's you know, shapes up as a pretty competitive race, along with you know, 2 other really competitive and hopefully yield some interesting tidbits on the road to the Triple Crown.
Yeah, the path has begun.